Hey Miss Mamas, welcome back to the compound. If you're new here, I'm Cass and we're just gonna go ahead and get started. So to start my makeup, very first thing I do after washing my face is I use the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. I really like this primer because it sticks to your face. As you can see, I gotta get my music right, set the vibes. It really sticks to your face and makes your makeup last literally all day. So that's what I'm applying here. I actually use two different types of primers. One that's like a sticky one, and then one is a mist. So the mist one I use is the Urban Decay Quick Fix. It's actually a prep priming spray. So you use it before your makeup, and I actually use a different one for like after my makeup's done. So just spray a little bit of that, make sure it catches your face. And then we moving on to the skin. Foundation wise, I use the NARS Sheer Glow foundation. I really like it. It's the perfect shade for me. I'm in the shade Tahoe, which is, the number is 6049. But yeah, I just place it on my face. It does oxidize a little bit, so I try to do one side at a time so that it doesn't sit and change colors. I use a small stipple brush and just kind of pat it down into my skin. I actually just got on the wave of using brushes. I used to always use beauty blenders to blend my makeup out, but now you can tell, you're gonna see as we move on, I use both. So I use a brush first, and then to finish out the look, I use beauty blenders. Next, we're moving on to concealer, which is my favorite part. I love a bright under eye. I personally use the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Concealer. That's a lot to say. But I use the shade LM8. It's a little bright, but like I said, I love a bright under eye. You don't need too much, so I just put a little bit under my eyes, of course. I put some on my chin, the bridge of my nose, and a little bit on my forehead. So I use a small flat brush. It's probably for shadows, but I use it to kind of start and warm up to blend my concealer under my eyes. So I use this for a little bit to kind of pull it out some and get it on the skin, and then I use a beauty blender to finish it out. Make sure your beauty blender is wet. And I did want to mention I use 3 different beauty blenders throughout this whole process. So you have one for your foundation, you have one for your concealer, and you have another for your powder. So this part actually takes a really long time for me, I'm not gonna lie. To blend out your concealers to what you want them to look like, you have to take your time. I feel like it's really important to take your time. So I took out a lot of the footage because I know y'all didn't want to just sit here and watch me blend out. But make sure you take your time when you're blending out your concealer to give the best look, especially if you like a bright under eye. Moving on to powders, of course we use the legendary L'Oreal Mercier translucent setting powder, the loose one. I use the original, but I definitely want to try the honey one, the brand new one that just came out a couple weeks ago. But for now, we have the original, and I just use a different beauty blender. This one's actually specifically for powder, so make sure if you copping products to get the one that says it's for powder. I don't bake my products, I just put it on the skin and pat it into the skin. I don't let my powder sit. Moving right along to our contour, I use the Fenty Beauty Matchstick, and the shade that I am in is Truffle. I could have went a little bit darker, but I just kind of wanted something more natural. So I just put it where you're supposed to contour, just a little bit, because you don't want to be doing too much. But put it on the sides, I put it on my forehead and a little bit on my jaws. Blend it out with kind of a rather large buffing brush, basically. And then of course, like I've been telling y'all, I go back on the back end and kind of perfect everything with a beauty blender. So to set that and bronze at the same time, I use the Morphe Glamour Bronze, and the shade that I'm in is Megastar. So I just use another big brush and put it everywhere that I contoured my face. So I'm just bronzing and setting that contour in. So to clean up the face, I use a little bit of that powder, same powder, to clean up the line of the contour. So I put it on the bottom and then I blend it out with a beauty blender as well. I feel like this really helps snatch the face. It makes your face look so much more snatched versus if you hadn't have done it. And then just blending that out a little bit with the same brush that had the Morphe bronzer on it, just to, not make it as harsh of a line. So I actually don't do a lot of eyeshadow, y'all, as y'all probably can tell. So I'm just using that same, literally I use this for everything, this same Morphe bronzer, and I use it as my eyeshadow as well. Even if you don't like eyeshadow, you still need a little bit of dimension on the eyes. It really does make a big difference. Of course, can't forget the bottom lashes. To set my face, I use the Morphe. It's the black bottle. The white one is matte, and I don't like matte, so it's just a continuous setting mist in the black bottle. Make sure you catch your face, baby. The makeup's coming together. I can see it. I'm feeling it. So I'm not gonna lie, I do use a really cheap highlight and blush. I got this from Ulta like some years ago, so it's really beat down, but it's just a rose gold type of highlight. I don't like gold highlights. I like more silver highlights. So I use a lot of highlight. I love this highlight. It's so cute. Move on to blush. I just mixed a couple of those blushes. I'm gonna get my blush game up and find some really cute ones, but I haven't just yet. I just put it on the apples of my cheeks, a little bit on my nose and forehead, and call it a day. Let's move on right to the lips. I use a Morphe lip liner. It's just a deep dark brown to line the lips. I do overline my lips, so do not roast me. And then we move on to the MAC Honey Love, which is just a really pretty nude color. Looks really good on girls of color. I add that to it, trying to blend it with the lip liner. And then I go on top of that and just add the Fenty Clear Gloss to it. And that's literally my favorite lip of all time. It just looks so neat, so nice, and I love it. That's a wrap, baby. Super easy, super cute, beat face. Here she is. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't, subscribe to my channel. And of course, the next video is going to be even more lit.